Good morning, Floss Tube. It's Saturday, April 1st, 2017. My name is Julie, and this is my very first Floss Tube video. Hopefully it won't be the last, but who knows. Making a video is way out of my wheelhouse. I'm not comfortable in front of a camera. I don't like the sound of my voice when it's recorded. And most of the time, if I can find someone else who can do any kind of talking for me, if I have to address a large group of people, I'm gonna let them do it and stay in the background. So why am I making a FlossTube video? Well, that's pretty easy. Seems like that's where everybody is hanging out right now, is on FlossTube, and I wanted to be part of the group. Hopefully you'll enjoy the videos and we'll each be able to learn something from each other. I've been watching FlossTube off and on for about a year now, and I've mentioned to my friend Connie several times that we should make a video together because she's kind of the mouth and I kind of in the straight guy, so think Laurel and Hardy, I guess. But time just hasn't permitted the two of us sitting down together and getting a video done. And if it was left up to me, I'd probably procrastinate my way right on into 2018 without doing it. So I promised myself that this year would be the year, and here we are. A little bit about myself. I'm married. I've been married for almost 37 years. It'll be 37 years in August. My husband's name is Dan. Wonderful guy. He stitches too. We have 3 grown children, which is kind of an oxymoron. How can you have grown children? And grown offspring doesn't sound right either. So there are 3 adults running around this world that have our combined DNA. Adam is our oldest. He's 32. He and his family live on the East Coast. Abby is 29. She lives at home currently. She's getting ready to get married in December, and so we're heavy into wedding plans with her. After which she will be moving out to the farm, which I would never have guessed in a million years that my middle child, Abby, who is a very girly girl, would marry a farmer. But they seem to get along well, and I'm hoping for the best for their marriage. And then we have our youngest child, Amy, who is 25, and she goes to grad school in Ohio. So we don't see a whole lot of her because, as you know, grad school keeps everybody busy, and her free time she usually spends sleeping because she doesn't get enough of that. As far as what I do, you might be able to tell from the background. I'm the owner of Reflections Framing and Stitching, which is a counted cross stitch and custom framing store located in Ralston, Nebraska, which is a suburb of Omaha. I've owned the store for 15 months, about 15 months. But I've worked there for about 14 years as the framer. We were originally just a custom frame shop, and then when the economy crashed in 2008 or 2009, whenever that was, the current owners at the time, people weren't framing. Everybody was worried about paying their utilities and not framing Uncle Joe's or Grandpa Joe's or picture. So we needed a way to bring framing customers in, and I suggested cross stitch. I'd been cross stitching for, well, it's 37 years now, but a number of years prior to that, and I know that stitchers will frame, and thought that might be a good way to keep business coming in. So we started out really small. We had a little corner in the shop that had maybe, I don't know, 5 cuts of fabric and 3 charts or something like that. And then we started a stitching group, because I thought that might be a way to get people in the door. So we started hosting Saturday stitch-ins, and we had to literally take down walls in order to get tables up, and because the shop was really, really tiny. And so every Saturday we'd have to take this little half wall off in order to, put up the tables for the stitchers. But gradually that grew from, I think there were maybe 3 stitchers that showed up the first time, and we gradually grew to 12, and that pretty much, there was no room in the store at that point for anybody else, not even anyone to come in if they wanted to frame on a Saturday. So when the lease was up, we moved to a slightly larger store and continued to grow and add more product, and that was about 8 or 9 years worth of growth before I bought the store from the previous owners. And when I bought the store, the landlord went from saying, "Oh, I'll keep your rent the same," to tripling the rent. So I had to move it to a different location, which is where we're at now. It's a little bit bigger, and it has been actually a blessing, because I was able to do things kind of the way I wanted to do them, and it's the layout of the shop is much more to my liking than it was in the previous location. So I think what I'd like to do with these videos is share with you maybe what I'm working on, and what maybe some of the customers are working on. And I've really got to get better at looking at this camera. And the ums. Oh my God, I've got to stop the ums. Just reach out and slap me a few times if it gets to be too annoying, okay? If you hit me often enough, I'm gonna catch on. So where was I? I'll share with you what customers are working on, what I'm working on here in the store as far as framing things and models and what's new, and just kind of have a good time together, I think. I hope. We'll see. Maybe you'll hate me. I don't know. It's a possibility. So I think what we'll do now is I will show you what I'm working on currently. We went to market, about a month ago, and brought back all these wonderful things, and so of course I had to start stitching some of them, right? I mean, you come home with all this good stuff and then you just leave it unstitched? No, not gonna happen. So I'll start with the first one, which is Fractor Flowers, La-Di-Da. It originally calls for 32 count Ren. I think Ren is probably my least favorite fabric in the world. I don't know why. Just seems to me to suck the life out of colors, so I don't like it, and I prefer to stitch on 40 count fabric. So I did my own thing with this one, and this is it. This is Fractor Flowers on 40 count Murky. And I converted the threads to overdyes. And actually I am loving this. I think I love the way the colors are sitting on this fabric. Murky is not a pretty fabric. I'm not sure what possessed me to try it, because it's really not, when you're looking at it, it's not a pretty fabric. But this was the only fabric I found that I really liked the colors on. So I went for it with the encouragement of Paulette Stewart. She lives locally. I don't know if you know that. Plum Street Samplers. And she was in the shop and saw my colors laying on this fabric, and she encouraged me to go ahead and do it, because I was hemming and hawing. Do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? So I went ahead and I did it with her encouragement, and I am loving it. So that's Fractor Flowers. Then we have, well, so I was talking to a customer back in January, and somehow the subject of Carriage House Samplings Hawk Run Hollow series came up. And I was talking about how I've always wanted to stitch one, and she has always wanted to stitch one. And I said, well, hey, you know what we should do is we could do a stitch along, and maybe we'd both actually start it. And so Sue, that's the customer, grabbed all the Hawk Run Hollow charts and went over to the group of ladies that was stitching at the time and coerced them into joining the stitch along. So what I was thinking was going to be maybe 10, maybe 12 if we were lucky people, because these are older charts and a lot of them have already stitched them, turned into 45 people that are part of our stitch along. And everyone is doing whatever chart they wanted to do. So, and I think everyone is covered, every chart is covered, with the exception of Spring at Hawk Run Hollow. I don't think anyone really cared for that one, so nobody's stitching that one. I chose to do the Village of Hawk Run Hollow, mostly because I have a Department 56 village. Well, it's Lee Max also, not just Department 56. I have a Christmas village. It used to fill up my basement before Abby moved in. And this reminded me of the village, and I absolutely love the sawmill, because the sawmill was the first building in our village that actually had movement. And I fell in love with that. So I am doing mine on 46 count sand dune from Lakeside Linens, and we officially started February 1st. But, and it was supposed to be a year-long stitch-along. I quickly found out that 92 by 92 square that didn't sound like it was going to take very long to do took me the entire month of February to stitch. So I am now on the 2-year plan, and I think pretty much everybody else is too. It doesn't sound like a lot. 92 by 92. It really doesn't sound like it should take that long, but it did. And my block, the next block that's supposed to be stitched is the church. But down below, let me grab it again. Down below you'll see that the cemetery, the schoolhouse is sitting next to it. I'm thinking schoolhouse next to the cemetery, those poor kids. So I'm going to bring the church down to the cemetery, and I'm going to bring the school up here, but I thought maybe the city hall should come next. So my block 2 is actually the called for block 3, and I'm stitching the city hall right now. So, and normally I would say I'm going to the every other month plan. So April I will stitch on this, but last weekend I left my stitching here at the shop, so I went ahead and started early. So this is actually block 3 but it's my block too. So that's that one. Another I started from Market is their new Loose Feathers series from Blackbird Designs. It's Spring Fever. I'm not normally a blue person. I'm more of the reds and greens, but when I saw this in person, it really called my name. I loved it, so I went ahead and started it. It's just a little start because I was starting other things at the same time, so not much is done on it, but there you go. I love this checkered bird. It is so pretty. And I'll get back to it eventually, next month, because not in April, obviously. The third thing I started from Market was With the Needle and Threads Heart and Hand sampler, which I'm going to hold this way so you can see the picture. And it calls for, what does it call for? 35 count dove linen. I do not like dove linen. It's a Weeks, and I just have a problem with Weeks fabrics. I think it's a little loosey-goosey. So I had picked up some 40 count water green linen at Market, and I took it home and I gave it a bath in some walnut crystals, and I am doing mine on that. So you can see it's kind of dirtied up a little bit. And I haven't gotten very far because I only worked on it, I think, 3 or 4 evenings. But I love how it looks on that fabric. I think it's pretty. So, and then did I mention my husband's stitches? I think I mentioned my husband's stitches. And I asked him if he wouldn't mind stitching up Blackbird Designs Hats Off to Uncle Sam for me. And so he did. He got that done in just a couple nights. Quick stitch. Love it. I made my own little hat. It was very easy to do. You can get all the supplies at Hobby Lobby, and they give all of the item numbers, SKU numbers and stuff for you in the leaflet. Inside the hat is the little drum. This was my first time making a drum. It's a little bit fussy of a finish, you got to do some hand stitching, but it wasn't bad, and I think if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I can't sew to save my soul. That's why I quit quilting. I can't sew a straight line either. Straight line, mine kind of tends to go everywhere. So anyway, the drum finish was a little fussy, but easily done in a day. The worst part, I think, was the sawdust. It calls for being stuffed with sawdust. I had never worked with sawdust before, and it gets everywhere, and it takes a ton. This was a big, huge Tupperware container. I mean, it was huge, full of sawdust, compacted down into this little drum. And I think a little helpful hint here. My original thought was I would stitch the top on, and then I would fully stitch the bottom on, and then I was going to cut a slice in the bottom and fill it from that, and then whip stitch it closed. No one's going to see the bottom. But my mother, I was staying with my mother that weekend because she's been ill, and she says, "Oh, Julie, I wouldn't do that way if I were you." She said, just leave a little gap and fill it through the little gap, and then you can close that up. Well, I don't know why I listened to my mother. She's had encephalitis, or it's kind of like a bomb going off in the brain. So she's a little right now. She's getting better, but why did I listen to her? Bad idea. Take it from me, stitch the top and bottom on there, and cut a hole in the bottom and whip stitch. It'll be much easier, because I ended up with kind of a nipple on there because of the way I did it, and I'm just anal enough that that's going to bother me for the rest of my life. So that's that. The next thing, that's all of my current WIPs. There's 100 million more at home, but those are the ones that I've worked on in the last month. And like I said, April, I don't normally do a rotation like a lot of you do. Rotations don't work for me normally. I'm going to use the word normally because I guess the Hawk Run is going to be a rotation, since I'm going to work on it every other month, so that it's not the only thing I work on. When you have a shop, you kind of got to keep new and fresh models coming. So even if it's just a little part of something, you've got to give people something new to look at. So the month of April will be dedicated to Village of Hawk Run, and then I'll go back to stitching on new things or old things or whatever trips my trigger at the time. That Let Freedom Ring from Lila Studio that Vonna is working on, it's in my bag over at the counter waiting for me to start it, because it is calling my name rather loudly. But it's another big piece, and I've got so many. I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd have to say it's probably going to get started in May. Might not ever get finished, but it's going to get started probably in May. And then there's Hoity Toity from Long Dog. That's another one I've got over there waiting. And 2 chatelaines that I just got in. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on to what's new in the store. Not a whole lot since market, but we've got a few things. A couple of the new Country Cottage for Easter. Spring in Your Step. It's really cute. I have looked around the store and I am short on Eastery things, so I think I might have to do some springtime stitching in order to get springtime displays out. But I'm not a pastel color stitcher, so it's cute. Don't get me wrong, it's cute. Pastel colors don't normally call my name. That Jump for Joy is the other little one that just came out. Again, it's got cute little sheep on it, and that would be probably a quick one to stitch up. So I'll have to think about that. Lizzie Kate has Chick Party. That one's really cute. I do like the brightness of these colors. I think I saw Yvonne Night Owl Stitcher just finished this one. That woman can stitch, I tell you. She just gets things done so quickly. Hi, Yvonne. And then, I don't know how new this chart is, but it's new to the shop. Satsuma Street's Sweet Spring. That rabbit is so cute. And these charts have been really, really popular in the store. Her whole line, the pretty little cities, are real popular. And then I don't know if you saw on Facebook, Diane from Little House did a video that she posted with the author of this book, These Is My Words. Well, they've done a chart to go along with that book, and it's new and in stock. I'm going to have to probably get that book and read it so I know what the story is behind this chart. But I think it's really cute, and I like it. So that kind of fills you in on me, the store, what I'm working on. I don't have anything to show you from the stitchers today because there's no stitchers in the shop. But maybe I can do a video one day when they're here. We do open stitching on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and second and last Saturday. So there's usually, second and last Saturday, there's usually about 20-25 women in here stitching. It gets, well, women and one gentleman. We do have Rodney that comes stitching. He's usually here Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So I can't just say women stitching. I have to women and one gentleman. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's usually a smaller group, 10 to 12, that are stitching here. So maybe I can do a quick video one day when they're here and show you what they're all working on. But with that, I think I'm going to call it good. I've already gone over the time limit. And like I said, I don't even know how to get this uploaded, and editing is not even going to happen because apparently Windows Movie Maker is no longer supported, and I don't know how to edit it. So you're going to get it the way it is. I'm sorry. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please forgive my nervousness and all those stupid ums. I'll work on that, I promise. And in the meantime, till the next video, happy stitching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.